Good evening to everybody, wherever you may be. This is Simon Fraser from AusCham, welcoming you to our Sundowners Lockdown Plus edition, which is probably the fourth one in a row that we've done now, considering the hard lockdowns that we've been experiencing in Ho Chi Minh City and across Vietnam. Also to mention that these are probably lockdowns in most of the cities that are viewing at the moment as well. And we welcome you tonight as well to our lockdown edition number 4 plus. So as we normally do, I'd like to thank the people that make these programs and also the ability for the chamber to operate, which goes to our members, but also to our corporate sponsors. And you can see on your screen, I think we have it on our screen now, that we have a range of sponsors across platinum, gold, silver and bronze. This year we celebrate the fact that we actually have probably around 15 active corporate sponsors with AusCham, and we really appreciate their support. I guess it's fair to say that over the past few months, we've seen the pandemic globally affect most people personally, but also from a business point of view. And as the pandemic drags on in Vietnam, we're seeing the increase of infections and also, sadly, deaths, but also the effect that it's having on our community as a business community as well. I think it's been very well publicised that both the Australian government has made big efforts into supporting the Vietnamese people at this time, and also our community with donations of vaccines. And these have started to trickle down into our communities and also to Australian citizens. Beyond this, AusCham has taken a vested interest in supporting the Australian community within Vietnam. And we've been setting up programs and also reaching out to contacts within these spaces in the medical areas, hospitals, and also vaccine suppliers to try and support the Australian citizens in Vietnam at this time by accessing vaccines. I know that it hasn't been the most, what would you say, easiest of times. It hasn't been so well planned because they tend to be very short notice activities that we're running at this time. But we do appreciate the fact that we've had good response and that also quite a few hundred Australian citizens have been able to access vaccines as well. So without further ado, it's to try and bring the mood up a bit. I'd like to welcome you to our guest speaker tonight. I'm speaking with Diana Nguyen. Diana Nguyen is a very well-known comedian from Australia. Basically, she's a comedian and writer. She's worked in the industry for 16 years. She's appeared on The Project, Q&A on ABC, 5 Bedrooms, How to Stay Married, and many more. In 2020, Diana spoke at her first TED Talk titled Joy is My Caffeine, Joyful. It was a defining moment of years of performing stand-up and theatre, coming to one place to tell a story in 13 minutes what joy meant to her, and how it saved her life. She wrote 5 Ways to Disappoint Your Vietnamese Mother in Alice Phung's book in 2008, Growing Up Asian in Australia, which opened the Pandora box for writing. In 2011, Diana and co-creator Fiona Chow wrote Fee and Me, a sold-out sensational hit with 4.5 stars in the Herald Sun, which is a Melbourne newspaper for those people that don't know. And also touring Australia, LA, Edinburgh festivals as well. And it was made into a stage show and later a web series. With crowdfunding and funding from Screen Australia, the first ever Vietnamese Australian family comedy series was released in June 2019. Diana has completed a co-adaptation writing commission for Melbourne Theatre Company with Petra Khalif and called Lorinda by Alice Phung. Diana has performed 3 successful runs of her stand-up shows, Naked, Dirty Diana, and this year Chasing Keanu Reeves, which sounds to me very interesting. She's a director, theatre maker, guest speaker, drama facilitator, MC and performer, all above. Diana Nguyen is a LinkedIn video content creator, and has 68,000 followers. So I'd like to welcome Diana Nguyen.
Hello.
Diana, good to talk to you again. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. And I thought I'll bring Keanu Reeves as well, so he's in the picture too.
Well, it looks like you did chase him down, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, it sort of like begs the question: Keanu chasing Keanu Reeves. So, you're based in Melbourne,
Yes.
and you've lived there all your life. You're
Yeah,
a Melbourne girl.
yeah. Mum came here on a boat, and then decided to raise three children on her own. So I'm one of them, and Melbourne has been my hometown my whole life.
That's fantastic. I spent a lot of time in Melbourne, so with education, mainly with education, but also a lot of social activities as well as university. So, being from Melbourne, you must follow football.
Yes, I
As
do.
Aussie rules
I'm a
who
member.
of
Hawthorn.
Hawthorn.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Been to the grand final two times, and I've barracked for them since 1991. So it's been like a good 30 years.
Don't worry, I'm a Tigers supporter, so we had to wait as long. Don't worry about that. So I hope your turn comes around as well. So just on that note, you were just saying that your mum came here. So can you give us a bit of a background just to set the picture of how you arrived in Melbourne, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so my mom came to Australia after coming by boat to Malaysia, which is usually the island hotspot for refugees. And then
Yeah.
she was accepted into Australia because she had done some work for the Americans during the Vietnam War. Um, yeah, so she was given a visa and then, yeah, settled here and met my dad. And then they ended up having three daughters and naming us after the royal family. So I'm Princess Diana, and we've got Princess Sarah and and Princess Anne. So we've got three princesses in our family. um,
Fantastic.
yes, and the hometown that we all resided and I went to school was in Springvale, which is another like a little Vietnamese mecca in Melbourne.
Another hotspot.
That's it.
It's amazing. It's amazing how many people, especially VQ, Australian Vietnamese people that come to Vietnam. How many people I meet and they say, "Oh, I'm from Richmond," or "I'm from Springvale." So sometimes I guess it's just a given, but they're both very strong communities, and they've probably invested very wisely because I don't think I could ever afford to be in any of those areas these days. So some wise investments. So tell me, it's funny, I've watched a couple of episodes of your show, Fee and Me, and how quintessential do you think you are to your mother? In the actor that you portray, or the person you portray in the series.
Yeah, I think if I think about my acting work and writing my own work, it has come from the dual identity of being a Vietnamese Australian, and using my art form to articulate my relationship with my mum, and Fee and Me is one of them. So Fee and Me is co-created with my childhood friend Fiona, and we wrote about our two mums, and because both our mums were single mums raising kids on our own, and they hung out with each other. It was like a single mums club, a Vietnamese single mums club, and we kind of saw them interact with each other growing up. So in 2010, I went to Fiona and said, there is nothing in the Melbourne Comedy Festival that celebrates our culture. We have to write about our mums. So the character that you see, who is the mum, Kim Hung, she's actually the combination of our two mums, because my mum's name
Yeah.
is Hung and Fiona's mum's name's Kim. So we put the two names together and created a character. So my mum was strict and sang karaoke, but Fiona's mum was a sewing mum and quite flamboyant. So we really integrated both our mums, but also the mums that we interacted in Springvale growing up, because
So
we
it's
wanted like a well-rounded character, not relatable just to myself. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So you say it's a good. The show and the way you write is probably a good reflection of your childhood.
Yeah, well, I reckon Vietnamese people are so funny. Like I grew up watching Vang Sung and Paris by Night and Asia, and in those bits they had the comedy skits.
Yep.
It was so funny, and I really do believe that Vietnamese people are so funny with their colloquialism. They're so, probably there might be some Vietnamese people in here, but the word "may" would be seen as rude in English culture, but that's the way we hang out with each other. Like we have banter.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to showcase how funny our mums were and how funny our culture kind of like comes together. And so yeah, it was more celebration of our mums' love and our community love. Yeah.
So I think I read somewhere that now is it there's so many times I hear about kids when they're growing up. Oh, my mum, because I do have a lot of Asian friends here. I live in Vietnam, so yeah. But anyway, back in Australia, I still have a lot of Asian friends as well. But it seems that parents will always want their kids to be a doctor or a lawyer or the architect. God help us, there's an architect in the family, but a lawyer or a doctor. And I read that this is probably what your mum had planned for you.
I think it's for every migrant and refugee parent who come with nothing and they kind of go, well, why not go for the top career? You know what? I've got nothing to lose. So, um, yeah, but in that though, I got my first piano when I was 3 years old, which is quite strange for a Vietnamese family. But my mum knew the arts was important. So I was learning piano at 3 years old. I was doing ballet at the age of 7. I was in a school choir. I was performing up to year 10. And then my mum kind of freaked out when VCE came to picking subjects. And she was like,
Mm.
hang on a minute, like do your commerce or do something that makes money so that you don't have to do what I did. And I understand where my mum's coming from because we had a tough childhood with my mum, raising three daughters on her own. Like
Mm.
we had tough days, and I think it's kept me humble also, and honor my mum for the sacrifices she made to take care of us. So, yeah, but yeah.
So there must have come a time where there's the I must honor my parents, or this is what I should do because of you're talking about a parent giving their life to raise you and make sure that there's the best for you.
Mhm.
When did the point come where you just thought, ain't doing that? It's sort of like I'm a funny person. I want to be in comedy. I want to be acting.
Well, it came to year 10 picking the subject. So I ended up being dux of drama in my school. So that means top class, and I got
Yeah.
top selection for top arts in Victoria, um, which is strange for a Vietnamese girl from Springvale. But yeah, I then did a Bachelor of Arts in university just to appease my mum to get a certificate of a bachelor. But I ended up doing a major in drama theatre studies and I did history and psychology. So I was very in the humanities. But I think the key moment was when I finished my arts degree. I was in that kind of intersection of do I now go do my dip ed, become a teacher, and get that salary job that my mum would be happy with? Or do I go the other direction, which is the arts? And auditioning and then working 3 jobs and then performing at night. And the person that opened my mind to that was my drama teacher from high school, Steve McPhail. We were having fur in Springvale, and I'm still good friends with him. And I remember at this age of this intersection, I said, I don't know what to do. And he said, if it doesn't work out, you can always become a teacher. Just go, just try. And 16 years later, like, I've created a career. We brought the community out into the world. And I think that's been really important to me because
Yeah.
people are my people. And
Yeah.
we're not Asian, we're not Chinese, we're not Cambodian, we're not Laos, we are Vietnamese. So that's been a really wonderful honor when we get kids messaging us saying, "Oh my God, I see our mums in that," or "Oh my God, that's Springvale." Like that's really exciting for me as a performer because I know that my work isn't just about me, but for my people, or for
Yeah.
the and, and for white audiences too. They need to know who we are. We
Yeah.
exist.
Well, it's sort of the other thing I'm really curious about is when, as a comedian, as a stand-up comedian, and you've done a lot of shows, and I've watched a few of them. I really enjoyed them because I get the humor, and but when do you know this is your path? When do you know, hey, I'm a funny person. Hey, I can tell jokes, and they're not other people's, they're mine. And
Well,
and who actually gives you license to say, hey, I am a good comedian.
well, when they start paying you and you sell out shows.
But did you do stand up in front of your family or friends and they just went, eh?
No, so stand up has only been the last 5 years. So I'm a trained
Okay.
actor.
Yep.
So I went to university to train as an actor. Um, doing and then Fee and Me was 10 years ago, and that was
Okay.
comedy acting. But 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I was dying for TV work. Like I'd done Q&A and it was everything was very once off, like 20 seconds there, or a guest
Yep.
spot, but it wasn't anything consistent. So I looked on the internet, I looked on the TV, and I just saw who they were hiring, and they were hiring comedians. So I then pivoted and said, all right, well, I guess I've got to be a comedian now. And then started doing stand up. I'm not even joking. I literally just grabbed a microphone, wrote a 1 hour show, and performed at the Comedy Festival in 2016.
And that was it.
Yep.
It's funny, it's sort of like we always, I can remember when I was going through school and look, my parents, they may as well have been your parents as well because they thought I'd be studying something like commerce or law, or my brother did medicine, my other sister did medicine as well, and but I was drawn towards drama as well. And I always thought I was a funny guy that my family did to a point, but that doesn't, I didn't think back then it really get you anywhere. But a lot of people said I certainly had the face for radio. So I sort of think that if I was ever going to be in one of those mediums, it would probably always be radio. But yeah, I always dreamt about the idea of being on television, but I never got there.
Oh, no, but I have to say, you do have a great voice.
Oh, there might be some hope for me yet. Should,
Podcasting, good.
should,
Podcast.
should I should I turn off the camera?
No, no, no.
So,
Podcast is the thing now. Don't say no. I've got a podcast, and people apparently like to listen while they drive, and it's
yeah.
probably less dangerous to see someone's face while driving. So,
I tell you, it's interesting the comment you made before. You were talking about your love of Vietnamese humour. Now, my experience, and I've been living here for almost 15 years now. My experience very early in the piece was what, because I didn't understand the language at all, and people would be laughing, and I'm just thinking, what the hell are they talking about? And I'd ask a friend, and he'd explain what they'd been talking about, and I said, makes no sense to me. And then I just realized over the time that I've been here is that I always thought there was this huge chasm between, say, Western humor and Vietnamese humor. And my partner's Vietnamese, and sometimes we sit through these long, on stage performances like pantomimes or comedy skits and things like that. I'm thinking, what are they on about? So I'm just curious how you would have pivoted towards Western humour, and who do you find are most of your audience these days?
um, well, Fee and Me was a combination of Vietnamese and English humor. So it was really those skits that we watched at home when we were kids, combining with the Western comedy. So I just remember a skit where it's the mum with her child with the best friend who's a white kid. So the white kid like you who doesn't understand Vietnamese. So the mother talks Vietnamese to her child, and the child translates it to their white friend, but
Yeah.
doesn't translate it correctly to so that they don't know what the mother is saying. So because I grew up with that too, like my mum would say something in Vietnamese, but then I would say something else to save face from her, and she wouldn't understand what I was saying. Um, yeah, I think with stand up, that was a massive difference and change for me, because it meant that I had to take off, literally, metaphorically, my clothes and just stand there with a microphone. Like,
Mm.
like you're not playing a character, you're playing yourself with an alter ego, but you're essentially playing yourself. I really love playing Kim Hung because I was invited to perform at the Jethert in Orange County. Like it's the one of the biggest Jethert
Yep.
festivals outside of Vietnam. It was 2,000 people in the audience, and because all the jokes we'd done was Australian, I was able to translate that into American, and they still understood it. They still understood the Vietnamese, but Western culture, and that was
Yep.
really exciting for me as a Vietnamese performer because it meant that this character I was playing, which is the mum, she spoke right to all the generations in that audience. So,
So it
um,
transcended, age groups and also nationalities, and
seniors love
yeah.
her. She tells off the audience and she sings galung, and karaoke. Yeah, so she kind of and I performed this at weddings as well. Like, and the parents just love it because it speaks to their soul.
Yeah.
Like galung, galung, and if anyone is Vietnamese here, just say yes. Galung is the most phobias thing ever, but it's so nuanced to our culture.
Yep.
Um, so immediately people just love me when they see me. So it's
Well,
great.
it's interesting. You were talking before about Asian people in performing arts and so on. And I think we were talking just a little bit earlier before we went live, and we were talking about that a lot of people in your profession don't get recognition. And you know, when I think about Australia as being a multicultural country, I think we celebrate humour from anywhere, and more so these days. I'd say more Asian actors and also comedians and performers are getting that recognition. And I think of people like yourself, or if I think of someone like Ando, or somebody like Aaron Chen,
Ali
uh,
Wong, half
Ali
Vietnamese.
Wong.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so like yeah, and Ronnie Cheng is a good friend of mine. And the one thing that he did really
Oh,
well was
I love watching him. I mean, he's got a razor sharp tongue.
yeah, but I think the one thing that he did that really worked for him was he left Australia.
Yeah.
He packed like his career has blown up because he decided Australia wasn't the place to blow up, and it was America, and that's why his career he's in the new Marvel movie, like
Oh, really?
yeah, he's in the Shang-Chi with
Oh, yeah. The
he's
new one's just come out. Well, we're just waiting to pirate that. We're just waiting for an opportunity to pirate. You're probably paying for it, but we're going to pirate it.
well, that's the culture. Pirating Paris by night, the neighborhood passing the same CD around. That's
I,
our culture.
don't worry. For whatever reason, I've watched plenty of episodes of Paris by Night. Just by default, I was there at the time.
And could I ask, if you are watching, if you could just tell us whereabouts in Vietnam you're watching from? Because I really like to know where people are from. So if you can pop it into. But I wanted to ask you, Simon, regarding comedy. Is there much stand-up comedy in Vietnam?
Yeah, there is. There has been up until probably the past, 18 months, but it was just, I'd say probably about 2 years ago. It was really starting to take off, where there were different places where they'd have, comedy nights, and people would be invited just to, even from the audience, if you're game enough to get up and tell some jokes. And also, it doesn't matter if it was sort of like who the person was, where they came from, or what their idea of humour was. Yeah, I'd say that a lot of these have been happening over the past few years, just before COVID, but and people were getting paid as well.
Well, Tam, you must know Tam Boy.
Yeah, Tan, yes. Yeah,
Yeah, so
no, well, we went to the same school, but he's
really,
much younger. He's much younger than me, though.
back in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, he and I have spoken over the years, and he said, Diana, pack your bags and come to Vietnam and start the comedy scene. And I was like, maybe I should learn Vietnamese first, and then we'll talk about that.
That's really interesting because I was on I was on a webinar this morning with the Australian Vietnam Leaders Dialogue with Kat Thao Nguyen. I'm not sure if you know Kat Thao Nguyen. And one of the people on that call was talking about a lot of the second and third generation Vietnamese now are probably not speaking Vietnamese. And they said that was a real concern, and that whilst Vietnamese are losing their identity or their language, or there's still cultures in Melbourne and places like that where say the Italians or the Greeks or other communities still have that very strong connection to their roots. So if you need to brush up on your Vietnamese, you can't rely on me. I can tell you that.
Oh, I can't lie on what. Your partner, maybe I could spit.
So
No,
tell
yes.
so tell me, but beyond all of this, you've taken to, you were mentioning before, podcasts. So you're actively doing podcasts. You have a presence on a very strong presence on LinkedIn. I think I had at any time in my career probably about 5,000 people, and I can tell you I'd probably know 1,000 of them, and I wonder who those other people are, or if they're actually stalking me online. I don't know, but you have 68,000, and
Well,
you also
that's an old number. It's 73 right now.
oh, look at you. And you're active on TikTok. You're an MC for events. You also acting, and obviously chasing a career in television and film. But you also you called yourself a creative entrepreneur, and I just wonder, what is a creative entrepreneur? Is that all encompassing of everything that you do?
Well, I'm trying to change the theory of the poor artist,
Right.
really. People go, oh, you got to slave it, you got to do it because you're passionate about it, you got to be poor. But I don't believe in that. I don't believe that we need to be poor. I think you just need to assert yourself that you deserve money as well.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason why that all that thinking happened was really when I went on LinkedIn. It was all a mindset change. It was like, what do I value of myself as a human being? What do I value in my work? What am I offering to you that you don't have? And I realized, and that's why I have blown up on LinkedIn, is because I provide the arts and comedy to a space that doesn't have it. Like if I had gone into YouTube, I would have been lost in the masses.
Yeah.
But because business is boring, and business, they do want to learn how to be funny. They do want to engage and crack a joke with their board meetings, and because laughter engages a very intimate soul. It's a you're letting the
Yeah.
soul out, you know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of perfect that I was dancing on LinkedIn, and that's how I started. I wasn't doing anything crazy, and I'm not a professional dancer anymore. Like I did ballet, but it was essentially I was moving my body in a space that was very stiff. And I was very lucky that people engaged in that and want to be part of it. And I think that's why I have such a really strong community on there, is because they see joy. And I didn't
Yep.
realize that until I wrote my TED talk, because I was going, because I went to the US and did a tour, and went to LinkedIn head office, and in my head it was like, why are people following me? Like, why? And it
Yep.
was because of joy. It because I gave them a space to go, like breathe.
This is the TED talk that you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, just joy. If you could just find, a couple of minutes of your day and just say, "Hey, I'm doing this for me," to smile, to laugh, like shine, then you're already changing your life
I
already.
think that's really we actually have that link or a couple of your links on one of our web pages. So people after this event do go there and look at some of Diana's work. It's hilarious, but it's fun. And I tell you, if you watch Fee and Me, you'll get hooked because everybody can relate. I can tell you the majority of the people I know and our audience can relate to that. But the other thing is, I'm just putting out a warning to our board of directors that maybe, I'm going to be a bit more light humoured, or maybe I'll do a dance for you at our next board meeting next week.
Yes, you could do that.
Under the instruction of Diana.
I know, but look, how does that make you feel by even saying that? That's naughty, isn't it? Like, look, and you're smiling and laughing. Like, it's such a simple thought. Like, you're just thinking about, oh, imagine if I dance in a boardroom or I dance on the beach. It just seems so naughty, but it's not breaking any rules. It's
I'm going to have to learn how to moonwalk.
sorry.
I need to learn how to moonwalk because one of the boardrooms we use, it must be about 40 feet long and it's glass.
Yeah.
Hope, I hope it can take my weight at least anyway. So, after 16 years, you've been also this week you've been recognised with a major award as well. Can you tell us about this?
Well, it's kind of crazy, but I'm very honored for it. So I was awarded the overall winner of the top 40 under 40 most influential Asian Australian this year. Um,
How can you fit that on a trophy? My God!
well, I did.
Oh, you've got it there.
I do have it here. Where is it? Where do I pop it? Oh, where? It's do you want me to grab it?
Yeah, sure. My eyes are on piano at the moment, so you're safe.
Well, I
Oh,
had
oh my
one.
God, you've still got the piano from when you were 3.
Oh no, I bought one for lockdown.
All right.
As of lockdown's
You're,
going to be for another 2 months, I reckon, in Melbourne.
my God, you're prepared, aren't you? I think we went out. I think most people in Vietnam went out and bought bags and bags of rice and noodles. You bought a piano. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, I did buy a piano. So this is the award.
Fantastic. Overall winner.
Yes. So I've been doing press pretty much for the last 48 hours. And I was on the ABC TV channel and I had Keanu in the back and people were freaking out when they saw him on the news. They were like, who's that man hiding in
Just,
the
just, just a young version of Chopper Read or something in the background.
back? Oh.
But tell me, what does the award mean to you?
It's been seen.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Although I am Australian, it is really hard to be. I'm speaking about my industry as an artist. When it's written by predominantly white writers, and if they are going to write an Asian role, they write one token role. And
Hmm.
look, I've played a lot of prostitute, refugee, druggy roles in my life. I've
Sorry.
And then, the one time I said no to more prostitute roles was the movie um, about Genghis Khan, Marco Polo, Netflix.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in the casting, my agent sent to me and said, "Oh, they're auditioning for concubines,
Hmm.
and you might have to be naked." And I said, "I cannot do another prostitute role, even though it was being filmed in Malaysia." I said no.
But it's when I think that everybody during lockdown, if you didn't have a Netflix account, you do now,
You do now.
and you have Prime and you have Apple and you have I don't know. There's so many other ones, and it's like you just your intake of all these shows because you get hooked on these shows, and sometimes when you watch a show these days. there's, you know, predominantly, we're talking about race, we're talking about predominantly white people.
Mm.
And then there'll be the token black person or Asian person as well. And my partner, who's Vietnamese, will be sitting there watching the show. And if it's an action show or something like that, say, who's going to get it first, the black one, the black guy, or the Asian guy?
Well,
And 9 times out of 10,
yes.
it's going to be the Asian guy gets it first. And you always think, why is that? He didn't even get any speaking parts. But that's something that you and I were talking about before, and it's just after 16 years in the industry, have you seen that change, or is that something you're driving yourself at the moment as well?
Well, that's why I've been. Look, ideally, as an actor, you want someone to give you a script and you perform it. But then I had to become a writer of my own work and perform it and produce it and direct it.
Mm,
And so, that's what I'm working to, is that someone says, hey, we've got a role. All you have to do is say lines. You don't have to market it. You have to do that. So there has been changed, but it's still it's still tokenized. It's still a tick
mm,
box. We've got that black man, tick box. We've got that Asian woman, tick that. We've got a gay person. It's not like we're not creating communities around them. And I think that was the drive for Fee and Me, was that I wanted work. I wanted work that was, I was on TV for an hour, on screen for an hour. Um, but also, I found sometimes watching, and I'm saying this in the most polite way, sometimes watching white things is boring when you watch, and that's why I watched SBS when I was a kid. You need flavors of the world. You need different textures and cultures and heart songs to move people. And I really believe that all these stories, regardless what color, culture, or religion we are, we all sing the same song. So I find it really confusing why we are not pushing for that. Like,
yeah,
100%. Why we're creeping. Why are we like so scared of change? Yeah. Mm.
totally agree. So it's with that in mind, your graduate your efforts are trying to make that gradual change. So you personally, and also with your what you're working towards at the moment, where do you think you'll see yourself in maybe, after 16 years of doing this? Where might you see yourself in another 16 years?
I do believe I have to be in America. So I have to follow Ronnie some point.
It's got nothing. Is it? Are we still? Has this got anything to do with Keanu Reeves or not?
It might be, might be
All right.
a side hustle.
Where is he?
Yes. Um, no, I do think I have to move to America. I do know that this is my career now. I can't go into an office job. I can do it, but I'll be very bored, and I'm a very efficient person, so I'll be bored after 2 hours.
Yeah.
Um, the arts really makes me really excited. Like I could do, and that's why I call myself an entrepreneur. I can work for 16 hours doing this because it's what drives me.
Yeah.
Excites me. I think that's so important. That no matter what you do, whatever job you do, you've got to find something that excites you in your life, and it gets that fireball going.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's why if I go back to LinkedIn, that's why people have really absorbed my content, is because it just it just gives them another feeling, another passion, or they go, oh, look at Dinah's really happy, how can I be happy, you know.
So and so obviously, it's the more happiness could be found in the US, I guess.
um
That just takes you to another level.
yeah, I feel like my skills here are very limited. Like, when they if they you give you a house, but you actually have your energy is a castle, you're always going to be a house here.
Yeah,
I
understood.
want, I want the whole universe.
Sure. Hey, earlier, I'm just running out a bit of time now, but it's been really enjoyable speaking to you. But Andrew, was there anything? Is there anybody that wanted to ask a question, or did you have any input there?
No, I mean, like, well, actually, first and foremost, Diana, like, thank you for joining us all the way from Melbourne. So people who have joined into tonight's kind of meeting event, you got people from, Ho Chi Minh City, obviously. You got some people in Hanoi. Big ups to the two people in Talat. You got the one special person from Facebook coming in from D7, and then you got someone from Sydney as well coming in. So, and you got fans coming in. So that's an awesome.
Anyone from Mita at all? That's where I'm from. That's where my mum's from. Mekong Delta. No.
Let's see what we can do.
We're all city people. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, but I have a quick question. So for anyone who's watching or listening to this, like who hasn't checked out your LinkedIn, go check it out. It's an actually incredible page, and there's so much content there. So I guess as a content creator, like I know also, because in the pre-call we also spoke about String as well, and she talks about like owning yourself and becoming your own channel per se, right? And that's how you kind of grow.
Yes.
And so for you, like, how often do you post? And then second question to that is like, how much time and effort does it take to actually create that piece of content for you?
Well, that's the magic thing about me, is that because I'm always creating in my offline life, creating for LinkedIn is very easy. So that's where my skill is. If you're saying, answering your question, how long do I spend on LinkedIn a day? Probably about 4 hours. I live on there. And I've grown this community 4 years ago. So to get this community that's so tight, like these people buy tickets to my shows, they listen to my work. And look, if you think about it, LinkedIn is the most is the richest platform because of CEOs and business people. I think that's where I really nailed it really well, is that I wasn't reaching out to my Facebook friends to give me money. I was reaching to a cohort of people who probably didn't have a lot of arts in their life and wanted to support the arts. And so when Feed Me was released, we did a marketing pump on LinkedIn, and so we've got audiences from the US and Netherlands, all around the world, just buying our t-shirts. Like they wear our t-shirts, which is awesome. To see your face on someone else's heart is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing when you see like the validation of your work come through, especially in a platform where it's quite B2B, like you said, like the CEOs from all different levels coming in. And I think that's like really cool niche that you've done. You created an entertainment, or you created a story arc that is relevant and touches strings, which is real cool.
Well, the term is personal branding. Yeah, and that's what I do. So String does she has clients and organizations. She works with organizations in building them onto LinkedIn. I work with clients who build their personal brand, so it's not bland. Because that's my skill. Like, I hope I'm not bland. So I interject and find their nuggets that make them gorgeous and beautiful, and allow the heroes. In my theatre training, it's all about the hero's journey.
Yep. And for anyone who's watching or listening, like if you're wondering who is String Nguyen, String Nguyen is like, she started off doing her own social. I think it was on I think it was Twitter, and then she's kind of built it through Periscope, Meerkat, and then she's built it now on LinkedIn. And I think in Australia, she's one of the top voices. So if you're probably wondering, I want to do well on LinkedIn, who do I model? Like, there's two already. You've got String, and then you've got Diana. So I think they're two really, really great accounts to have a look at. And now that you kind of explained it, like she does branding, you do more personal branding. Like, it gives a bit of a flavor as to like, oh, how can I adjust tactically, like for my personal brand? How do I bring myself out, but also add value at the same time?
And look, we need more Vietnamese people online. Like, seriously, we it's funny, people do ask if String and I are sisters because we've got the Nguyen surname. They ask, and we make jokes that we are. But I really emphasize like we need to encompass all sectors. And I really encourage, like, if you want to get into LinkedIn, I think it's a perfect place to network and meet new people and make new connections outside of Vietnam or wherever you
Mm,
are. My community is not in Australia anymore. It's the US, London, Singapore. Like, I can when I went to the US 2 years ago, I had a contact in every city and I stayed with them. Like I didn't like I had made a friend via LinkedIn.
mm.
And so the relationships on LinkedIn are more substantial. They're not just a business connection. Yeah. So I guess when you spend 4 hours on LinkedIn, you're gonna create relationships with people.
Yeah, easy. Well, I'm gonna pass it back because everyone loves Simon's voice. He's got the voice and he's got the look as well. I know his eyes are rolling back, but I'm gonna go back to the bedlams of IT production. So
Thank
You're,
you.
you're a good man, Andrew. You're a good man.
Thanks, Andy.
All right. Well, just wrapping up, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed the chat tonight, Diana. It's and even meeting you probably was it about 2 weeks ago when it was just sort of like a cold call.
Yes, it was a cold call.
This very very sub-zero cold call, and you said, "I'm sorry, who are you?"
Yes.
And but I think we've warmed to each other since then, which is thank God.
Oh, it would have been great TV. It would have been great TV.
And I look, I'm not sure, when people will be able to travel again, and whether or not you'll make your way back here before you make it to the US or wherever.
All my family is in Vietnam because Mum came here by herself. So
Yeah.
all my relations, my cousins, my second, third aunties, my grand aunties are all in Vietnam. So yeah, I will have to come back to Vietnam at some point. Yeah.
Well, I certainly know where Mito is. I've been there plenty of times in the past, and also always when we're heading down to the Mekong Delta to Sop Trang and Kantha and places like that. So yeah. So Diana, it's been a real honour. It's been a privilege to have a chat to you tonight, and I hope that we connect, and the people who've been listening to the discussion connect with you on LinkedIn or some way through your performances. We've got links on.
I'm on all social media, so you can find me somewhere.
Excellent. And I think that, from the discussion we had before tonight, I'm sure that we'll create some connection between you and AusCham and also our members over the next, few months or whatever. But it's been a real honour to talk to you, and I wish you all the luck with the next 16 years.
Thank you. Hopefully, yes.
And stay safe and stay strong, and back to the piano and to that dreamy looking guy in the background.
Love of my life.
Great. Thanks, Diana.
See you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Okay, well, that was. I didn't know I didn't know how to stop. Actually, I think Andrew was quite taken as well. But that was a really good discussion with Diana, and as I said, a lot of her links are actually on our website. There's a web page, and you can connect via our website via the Sundowners link to the information about Diana, and probably follow her through social media. So I need my presentation back. My technical director. There we are. Excellent. So just moving on, and I know that Mark Proctor from Telstra has been patiently waiting, and I'm just going to talk to him in a moment. But I just wanted to highlight that we do have a couple of new members who've joined us. Strategic Investment Management, who is a legal business, local legal business. They've joined AusCham this month. Also Haymarket HQ, which is a business consulting group out of Sydney. They've joined us as well. We've done some strategic work with them over the past few months, and that has been that's flowed on to our members as well, which they've been working on different grant submissions to the Australian federal government for businesses in Vietnam, which is very exciting at this time. Also, alumni member Lung Tan Huang in education and training, and Kerry Newson, who's joined as well. She does podcasts in the tourism space, and she's very connected to Vietnam. So if you read our EDM, the e-newsletter that came out tonight, there's a link there to Kerry Newson's connections as well, to her podcast as well. So take up the opportunity and tune into her podcast. So I do have a new member promotion for tonight, and I was talking with Mark Proctor recently. Mark is the, next slide. Where's my technical director? There you are. Mark Proctor is the Regional Southeast Asia Business Development Manager with Telstra. Mark should be based in Singapore, but at this time,
Hanoi,
I think
actually.
Hanoi. There you are, yeah. Mark. So, but I think you'd made your way to Singapore or something like that somehow. But now you're actually in Cairns at the moment. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, I'm in Cairns.
Yeah. So, Telstra have had a long association with Vietnam over a very long period of time. I think it's would be more than 20 years.
More than 30, in fact. Yeah.
30 years, right? So, I just, as a new member, I asked Mark just to share a bit of what Telstra are actually doing in the country at this time. And I do believe there's a presentation, there's a couple of slides, and we usually keep people to a couple of minutes, but let's see how we go. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. So, yeah, firstly, Diana, I saw you live, which is a fairly rare occasion or occurrence over the last couple of years, but happened to be in Melbourne at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, and saw you perform in a downstairs venue somewhere in Exhibition Street, I think it was. It was a great show, so good to see you again. But as Simon said, I think Telstra was probably the first Australian company to be present, and certainly the first to invest in Vietnam. And what a lot of people might not know is that we, together with VPT, or the post office as they were at the time, built Vietnam's first international telecoms network. Prior to that, if you wanted to make a call outside of Vietnam, you had to go to a post office, fill out a form, and wait for one of, I think, about 10 inter-Sputnik circuits to become available before you could make a call. So that was a contract we had from about 1989 through to the early 2000s, but we've been in Vietnam ever since that time. So I'll just get you to click to the next slide, please, Andy.
Yep.
So I won't go into a lot of technical detail, but a lot of people, particularly Australians, might not know that we have one of the biggest international undersea fibre networks of any of the telcos in the world, particularly around this area, around Southeast Asia. So just onto the next slide. Yeah, that one. So we provide a lot of Vietnam's internet connectivity. Unfortunately, not all of it, and probably not enough of it at the moment. We've got a strong partnership with all of the local telcos there. We do business with all of them. So what we can do for Australian businesses there is help, basically. Help you if you're newly setting up there. Help if you want to connect back to Australia with something more than just the public internet. As I said to Simon the other day, I'd encourage anyone who wants to know more about what we could potentially do together to get in touch. Thank you.
Great, Mark. Good to talk to you and good to see you again. Certainly, I hope things are okay in Cairns at the moment. You're probably aware of how things are not so good in Vietnam at the moment.
No, that's right. And it's good to see. I had a look at the attendee list to see if I recognised anyone. And I see Chris Barnett and David Nguyen are still around. So I recognise those two names from many years ago when I used to be able to go there regularly.
Excellent. And I think that the aim is to be in Hanoi when you can, I guess, at this time too.
Yeah, so hopefully early next year is probably my best guess is when I can get there. But we're available through all these sort of electronic means as well, if anyone wants to get in touch.
Excellent. I think I can see some people who are sending out some messages to you as well online.
Yeah, that's good to see.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. And we'll be following up in the next couple of weeks because I think that, sort of from what we discussed the other day with dedicated lines and other ways of connecting with Australia, there'd be some interested parties. So this is quite exciting. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks, Simon.
Okay. So basically, we're coming to the towards the end of our evening, and I think I just went a little bit too. I was getting a little bit too into the conversation. I think both Andrew and I at some stage with Diana, and then to lead on to understand what's happening with Telstra as well, which is great. So just wanted to say that if you see that there's anything that's happening in the country at the moment, you can usually be assured that you can follow us on social media with Facebook and also Instagram and LinkedIn, of course. We're posting almost every day, and as you know, pretty well the environment here in Vietnam and around the region is changing on a daily basis as well. So without further ado, I guess one of the spotlights, and not the best part, I've been warned off saying the best part, but one of the spotlights of our event is always the prizes. So that's the one. So one of our longest serving sponsors, RADA Vietnam, kindly donated some wine. And I think that basically this time, this time as we're all locked down, I can see some of the comments in the comment box or the chat box is where do we get our wine from? And people are mentioning RADA, and RADA are certainly during this time being very responsive to orders. And I know that dealing with Andy and Jackie. So thank you very much, Andy and Jackie at RADA Vietnam, for your sponsoring of tonight's Sundowners Lockdown Edition 4. And we look forward to drinking more of your wine and also more sponsorship. So with the winners, I can announce the winners, which is three prizes of 2 bottles each, is one prize of 2 bottles goes to Nguyen. The next prize of 2 bottles goes to Jessica Lay. And the third prize of 2 bottles goes to Tran Lay. So we'll be emailing you tomorrow, and we'll be obviously trying to get them to you as best as we can. I'm not sure how how Vietnam Post is operating at the moment, or whether or not we can courier it. But either way, we'll put in a clause that says your order is with us, and it might be delivered before the 28th of some month. Like delivering food. The next prize is with Urbanist Travel. Urbanist Travel have just started sponsoring our Sundowners with prizes as well. So basically they've given us a gift voucher of 2 million dong towards travel services, including tours, hotel, cruises and transportation. There will be recovery in the hospitality and tourism sector. And I hope it comes sooner than later, and as well as F&B. So this is on the pretense that hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll be opening up again with our hospitality and tourism, especially from a domestic point of view. So the winner of this prize tonight is Huang Fan. So we'll be emailing you a soft copy of the voucher valued at 2 million dong. So they're the only prizes we do have tonight. But all the same, it's been a very fun night talking with Diana, and it's good to hear from Mark Proctor, who's had a long time association with Vietnam and also with Telstra and Telstra in Vietnam. And hopefully it was entertaining. As everybody seems to have said, I've got a face for radio, so maybe next time I'll turn off the camera, but otherwise, I hope you enjoyed tonight. There's a lot of things happening on our website. I'll do some spruiking now. If you do visit our website. There's a lot of information about events which are free online webinars that probably address a lot of questions that are going around at the moment. Also, read our e-newsletter. If you don't subscribe to it, you can subscribe via our website as well. And we're also on Facebook, and as I said, on LinkedIn and also Instagram. So stay safe, stay strong, and I hope that we can talk again very soon. And next time it'll be face to face. Thank you.